If you're watching this video and if you watch the videos on my channel, you're likely a singer who is working on their voice. Now, your voice is unique, but the issues that you have with your voice are probably not. In this video, I'm going to talk about 5 common mistakes that I see singers making, and I'm going to teach you how to correct them. My name's Kate. I've been singing formally for over 30 years. I've trained in both pop and classical music. I've had decades of experience as a student, as a singer, and now over the last decade as a teacher, as a coach. And I help people to identify what are the issues with their voice, how to overcome them, and how to find and sing with their authentic voice. So number 1, the first mistake that I see people making, and this is almost unanimous, is tension. Tension of the jaw and of the throat. A lifting and a stretching of the throat as you're singing, as you're going up. Tension over here. This happens for a variety of reasons. Sometimes you're never taught how to sing from your belly, how to sing deeply, how to support yourself with the proper breath and sing from the whole body. Other times there's a kind of anxiety around singing, or you're kind of getting strained and stressed as you're going higher. For a lot of people, what happens is as they're moving up, they start to lift their head up with them and close off everything. And this blocks your tone from its full potential. How to fix this? It's very, very simple. It's a postural thing. It's simple in principle, but in practice, you have to do it over time. You have to monitor your position. So you can sing in front of a mirror. You can just be mindful of what's going on when you're singing, how you're feeling. What you want to do is be sitting or standing straight, feeling like there's a cord that's pulling your head towards the ceiling. And then tilt your chin slightly downwards. Now this is the posture you want to maintain up here. And then you open. What I see people doing instead is and keeping their jaw locked. So one thing you can do about the locked jaw is to keep your fingers here between your molars as you're singing, and make sure that you're allowing your jaw to slacken. That tension is going to block the beauty, the color of your voice, your expression, and it's going to also signal to your brain that you should be stressed, that singing is making you tense, that it's kind of dangerous in some way psychologically. So you want to make sure that your body feels relaxed and safe. So this is going to help you structurally, posturally, technically, and also mentally and psychologically to get into the right state of relaxation and focus for singing. The second thing that gets in the way of a proper technique is people not wanting to really open their mouth enough. And this happens so much. When we're singing, we need to be opening our mouth into positions that we're not really using when we're speaking. So you can watch me speaking right now and my mouth is not going like this. Okay? But when I'm singing, I want to allow that opening. So we need to get used to this kind of foreign feeling. And it's kind of a vulnerable feeling in some way to just open your mouth. And you want to make sure when you do this that you're not locking your jaw, that you're not creating more tension, that you're not going back to number 1, but that you're just allowing things to drop down. Like you can think about this like you're speaking with a lisp, okay? You want to have your tongue against your bottom teeth. Ah, ah, not ah. That's a combo of number 1 and 2, and you can hear the difference in my tone. So these two are kind of related, but it's all about releasing yourself up here. From the shoulders up, you want this to be relaxed, open, tall, cathedral-like. I like the cathedral kind of ceiling feeling of the head, of the mask, of the face, allowing space and very gently allowing things to relax here. That's the posture. Now the next one is not singing with your whole body. People go to warm up and they're like, mi, me, ma, mo, mu, can sound kind of pretty. But if you want to access all of the power of your voice, the tone, the resonance, the color, all of that jazz, you want to sing from a deep place. So you breathe in deeply, a hand on your belly to feel the expansion here. Mi me mo mo mu. And you just allow everything to be fueled from that active breath. It's as if you're singing on the breath. The breath is like the moving ground, which is just fueling your tone, fueling your notes, fueling your phrases, carrying you along. When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. If I would be tight, lifting, singing from the throat, not singing from my full body, it would be like, when I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me. Okay, so there's a big difference there. There's a big, big difference. You want to honor your body as the instrument that it is. Your voice isn't just something that comes out of your mouth. It comes from a whole coordination between the breath, between the muscles, between the position of your face, between the position of your body, your posture. All of this together, you need to create that environment, sing with your whole body. Now, the next one that I see, number 4, is mistaking your passaggio for a range limit. I see this very often. A lot of people think they're just a bass or they're just an alto, and they cannot sing higher than a certain place without things just shutting off or going wonky or being thin or losing their pitch clarity. They feel like, okay, my voice works up until here and then that's it. Now, I'm going to demystify this a little bit. What happens is that males and females, we both have passaggio in different places. For a male, it might be around E3 to G3. Somewhere in there, you kind of shift into your chest, middle voice, into kind of a head voice. And sometimes you feel like, okay, that's kind of, I can't really sing higher than that comfortably. For a female, it tends to happen if you just sing do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do. You see how light that was? That's the passaggio, okay? You learn to navigate the passaggio and add fullness to it and add color into it and not force your way through it. There's a coordination of the vocal cords that needs to happen there, a physical coordination, a breath coordination for you to transition through it smoothly. But it doesn't mean that you can only sing up to a C or a C sharp. Usually you can unlock up to a G if you're a female easily, once you learn how to navigate this area. But a lot of women are calling themselves altos, or they get placed in a choir as an alto or in a group chorale as an alto, simply because they haven't learned how to coordinate that transition and they just have never really explored the head voice. That is something that you can unlock and work on as a process and realize that this is not the end of your range. It's just kind of a speed bump and you need to learn how to go over it smoothly. Number 5 is expecting your voice to improve overnight. I think there are a lot of people who think that because they're putting effort in, because they're practicing, because they're doing vocal warm-up videos or watching YouTube videos or even studying with somebody, they think, okay, things are going to change because now I've put my mind to it. I've applied my will to this idea that I am going to become a better singer. So I expect it to change quickly. But that is not how it happens. It really is a process. And it's a process that is kind of indefinite. You can always find something new in your voice if you're curious. You can always unlock something in your voice if you're curious. And if you don't treat it like it is a chore, like it is this project that you have to improve, that you have to do it now, that after X amount of time, X amount of exercises, you should be able to do exactly what you want to do with your voice. Like anything, there's a learning curve. And sometimes you think you're at the point where nothing's working, nothing's going to happen, and then suddenly, boom, you unlock something, you have a breakthrough. This is how it happens with vocal training. It's a process that you need to honor, that you need to respect, that you need to really engage in, and engage in a way that is not going to stress you out. There are so many people out there, myself included, who treated this process as this very important thing that needed to be placed on a pedestal, building the voice, singing, being a singer, going through conservatory exams, going through college, going through university, going through training with a coach, training with a teacher, whatever it is, treating this as it's so foundational to kind of who you are, to your identity, that it just gets wrapped up in so much stress. And then especially in the wrong hands, that process can turn into something that kind of traumatizes you. And you're like, wow, singing, I don't even want to do it anymore. It just feels awful. You don't want to go down that path. The process needs to be something that is engaged in a way that you're active, that you're curious, that you're open, that you know is going to take time, and that you create a space for it to be playful, to be curious, to be engaged in something that's different, to learn something. It's kind of like if you start going to the gym, or if you start engaging in a new kind of sport, or learning how to paint or something like that, you're not going to learn everything right away, but you don't always get as frustrated. I find with the voice, it's kind of a unique frustration because it is so personal. It is such a deep expression of who we are. Already to speak, to say what we think, to take up space in the world with our words is personal and is unique. Add melody and tone and pitch to that, and it becomes a whole other thing, a whole other way of self-expression. You can easily get lost in that and thinking like, okay, if I can't traverse the Passaggio right now easily, if I get blocked there, that means I'm a bad singer. That means all of these things about myself, okay? You don't want to get locked into that kind of negative contract with the process. You want to be like, okay, I'm doing something for whatever reason it is. Figure out why you're singing, why you are in the process of improving your voice. What is it that is important for you as an individual in learning how to sing? Is it just for pleasure? Is it a hobby? Is it because you want to record an album? Is it because you want to express yourself better? Is it just something that you did when you were a kid, but you kind of gave up and you want to come back to again? What is it? Are you singing for the sake of singing? Are you singing as a creative? What are you doing? Figure out what your philosophy is. Let that kind of be your North Star. And then engage in a process that is full of discovery and full of joy and full of passion. And that allows time for rest and allows time for you to sometimes pull back, observe, think about what you've learned, sing for fun. You have to treat it as a long-term kind of thing. It's an ongoing thing. It's a life work, and it's a life skill, and it's a life pleasure. So how would you know what to do? Like, what is your process? Some people can develop their own process and monitor themselves and kind of be in their bubble and do their thing. And that's great. And I respect that a lot. There's a time for that in a singing journey. I also think that sometimes you need feedback and you need guidance. I offer one-on-one private coaching to take you to the next level with very deep work. If you're interested in that, you can definitely check it out. But since that is limited, I've also decided that something that would be really helpful for you guys would be for you to submit a video of yourself singing, and I can analyze it for you, send back a video response with tailored exercises and a process that you can do at home that will have clear steps that you can follow. Just to wrap it up, we have these 5 common mistakes that I often see with singers: tension of the throat and jaw, not opening your mouth enough, not singing with your whole body and with your breath, mistaking the passaggio for a range limit, and not appreciating the process and trying to just get quick results. All of these things are going to work against you, but these are all things that you can dismantle if you have bad habits. It's okay. You can work on reformulating them and getting the best out of your instrument when you sing in integrity. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you being here. You can leave your comments below. Let me know if you've had any of these issues, if you have any other issues, and if you have any questions or comments, I would love to hear from you.